Every part of combat revolves around the weapon you use, and that's because weapons differ in more than just stats. Different weapons have different movesets, and different classes of weapon have different styles. The most effective builds are those built around the weapon you use. In Dark Souls 2, there is something called weapon scaling, where weapons become stronger depending on your stats. For example, some weapons become much stronger the higher your dexterity is, and this degree of scaling is visible here. From best to worst, degree of scaling is S, A, B, C, D, E. You should check this on every weapon you use because some weapons may become more powerful with scaling. If you want to compare weapons, equip one and look at alternatives in your inventory. Ones with higher damage output will have a blue value here, and ones with lower damage output will show a different value in red. But remember, weapons are more than just the damages they do. It's about their range, their moveset, their speed. Find a weapon that suits you. Swords are good all-rounders, with some thrusting and some slashing attacks. Most of the time, both strength and dexterity increase the damage effects of swords equally. As you can see here, this sword has a C scaling in both strength and dexterity. Axes and maces are more strength-based, and after successive attacks are better at wearing down your opponent's guard. This triggers a state of weakness which you can capitalize on by tapping R1 right in front of them. Again, the strength scaling of these weapons are seen here. Other weapons like bows, rapiers and scimitars require a bit more finesse, and the damage you do with these will scale as you increase your dexterity level. The wide horizontal sweeps of the great weapons are perfect for taking on multiple enemies at once. As you can probably tell, these weapons require a huge investment in strength to wield properly. But in the more claustrophobic altercations, you'd be better off with a thrusting weapon, like a rapier or a spear. These thrusting weapons can also be used while holding up your shield. There are also magical or blessed weapons which scale up with intelligence or faith respectively. These supplement the abilities of the sorcerer or the cleric, giving them a viable melee option.
You'll also notice that weapons use different amounts of stamina, and each has their own animation and time for attacks and recovery periods. It's important to understand how long your attacks take to execute and recover, because during this time you can't block and you're vulnerable. There's so much to tell you, but the most important thing we can say is to be observant. Enemies have their own movesets and styles. If you're observant, you can take note of enemy attack patterns, learn the best method for beating them, even if it's through trial and error. For example, this enemy will always attack you after you hit him with his shield up. Get behind him and backstab him, or break him down with a guard break attack. Try learning how to bait enemies into attacking you so you can either block or avoid their attacks and then retaliate with your own. Watch the duration of their attacks and look for openings, and make sure you can recover in time to be able to block, roll, or evade him again. Do you see what I mean? You should be keeping a little enemy journal in your head so you know how to deal with them in the future. In general though, enemies are vulnerable to attack after they've finished attacking. Many hollow enemies are especially vulnerable after they've finished a flurry of attacks. So block or dodge, then counterattack with your own.
Some weapons can also inflict unique status ailments, and the land of Drangleic is full of enemies that will try to take you out using these more subtle means. If you see one of these bars building up while being attacked, you should probably panic a little. Some enemies have weapons specifically designed to make you bleed, and in that situation, if the bar fills, you'll lose a massive amount of health straight away, and have limited stamina. Another ailment is poison, which can be inflicted in a variety of ways. If the poison bar reaches full, you'll slowly lose health over a period of time, until the poison finishes or is cured. One can also be cursed in Drangleic, and cursed items will damage your maximum health as long as you're near them or until you destroy them. Lastly, and most dangerously, is the Petrify meter. If this bar reaches full, you'll be frozen as a statue, shown in other players' worlds as a stationary reminder not to be cursed. Certain gear will better be able to resist poisoning, cursing, bleeding, and petrification, or you can try to avoid it through sheer skill in combat. Dark Souls is harsh but fair. You start the game confused and weak because it won't conform to your idea of what a video game is, but by overcoming adversity and using persistence, you can master combat in Dark Souls 2.